pick up on where we left off in the conversation, the rebellion in the Mount Kenya region, and kind of looking at some of the factors that contributed to that. Mhesh, what can you tell us that drove Mount Kenya region to that level?
I'd like us to look at the comparison between Nairobi and central Kenya. Yeah. You see, look at Kiambu is the bedroom of Nairobi, so is the part of Murang'a through Keno. You see a distinction. The outcomes are a little different. In Nairobi, you find Jubilee has won a number of seats, and Nairobi is like out of 17 constituencies. Yeah. As per the latest report, awaiting final authentication by IBC, about 14, if not exactly 14, are taken by Azimio. Nairobi has a very significant Gema population. In fact, a number of constituencies, you find Gema people of Gema origin constitute 70% and above. Now, compare that with the areas in Murang'a, Nyeri, in Nyandarua. There's the factor of elite. A lot of elite, people with a good education, people of my generation, people who are males of 40 years and above from our region. People who are economically stable, or they are in middle class or just about, largely sympathetic to Azimio and very excited about a Mother Karua deputy position under Raila Odinga. Yeah. So Nairobi votes to endorse Azimio candidate. But when you go to Nyandarua, from governor to MCA, you come to Nyeri, from MCA to governor, you and other areas, the same Embu. That speaks about the manipulation that may have happened with the narrative of Hustler Dynasty. In every village that I went, and they saw were visits by other candidates, because we always compare notes, met, and even through other reports. The narrative of Hustler versus Dynasty was interpreted in my region as the Kenyattas against the commoners. Then there was a campaign of hate from the movers within our rivals in Kenya Kwanza. Say UDA, in our region it was not Kenya Kwanza, it was UDA, specifically targeting Raila Odinga as a candidate. Even repeating the mistakes we made in 2013, 2007, and even 2017, calling some candidates even gubernatorial and senatorial, and even members of parliament were calling Raila not only the Kitadawili tag that was given by his rival Ruto, but even Kimundu. So that campaign of hate, the campaign of saying we must break away from dynasties, was very heavy in the region. People asking after I converse with people, and the Nyeri people, wherever I went, can be this witness that we had conversations. My meetings have always been, I speak to them, then they speak, they ask questions and comments. Yeah. The question of how are you how are you going to break from domination by families? And by families, they meant the Kenyattas, the Odingas, the Mois. Was a pertinent question. I'm speaking about this on national TV because I'm very confident that it is authenticated by the conversation that we had at the grassroots. So that affected a lot of, it raised emotions. So they said, this is likely to be a government that will be a perpetuation of the incumbent government. And our rivals were showing like they are breaking away. They are not part of the government. Now, let me touch this raw nerve. You don't help this narrative by nominating someone who is perceived to belong to one of the richest families in Kenya as #1 for Senate. Then #2, you nominate another person who comes from one of the largest, if not the richest family in Kenya. It aggravated the situation for us on the ground, and even put us in a lot of difficulty in selling the candidature of Mother Karua, because they said, well, she's there, is she going to be, yet we know, they don't go there very personally, that she is her own person, she is of integrity, she is qualified, she's a reformist. The second issue that affected this campaign in our small levels in the villages, and even affected the presidential percentage, as I said, we in Azimio expected Raila to get between 30 and that 5% at a very minimum. And now it's coming below 20%, is the organization of the Azimio presidential campaign. Can I tell you that not a single day did the Azimio presidential campaign go to rural Kenya? And I know that that was a report that they had received early. So if you come to Mukurweini, they only visited the tarmac headquarters. In Karatina, the same, only about 2 kilometers inside, but still on the tarmac. Then in terms of the machinery, the structure, and it is not because people did not submit proposals or generate ideas that could make it a little better. So these UDA guys had a free field to inject toxins, poison, among the people's minds. And although the trade was showing like we are recovering and we are stable and we are in a good position, that became a difficult scenario. Finally, let me say this. And I should explain that of the nomination that I said. You see, Jubilee is a signatory to the Azimio, and ODM, they are the main. Then NARC Kenya withdraws in favor of Jubilee its own candidates in Tharaka Nithi, in Embu, in Kirinyaga, and then in Laikipia. So the message that is sent is that NARC Kenya is not in a premier contest. And then when you double that with the listing of nominees, and let me insist on this, because I think it should get down. And for us who are in leadership, whether elected or not elected, should understand this. That when it seems that certain families are reluctant to see the ground, to individuals who have credentials, women who are very qualified, scholars who have participated in reforming the structure of governance in Kenya, and you go and pull somebody from a homestead, you put that person number 1 on top there, and that person is not even campaigning in her own village. You go pull a second one, you put that person number 2 or number 3 in the nominations. It comes crashing down the point that really this election is not about us. Now, it gives UDA the opportunity to perpetrate a deception that we are here, we are the hustlers, and we want to get down with it. Now, that emotion will have an impact in terms of the quality of leadership. And I'm saying everybody who was elected, they deserve, and they even deserve our own support and goodwill for them to serve, because once you are elected democratically. But I think we need to interrogate the status of Kenya's democracy, particularly in my region, Mount Kenya. People, I'm wishing them all the best, but I know there will be questions and there will be cries. Because emotion quotient inaitwa EQ can never dominate IQ, intelligence quotient. Now, finally, let me say that in terms of what IBC has done, you know, we give it a pass because we are comparing 2017 and 2022. Do you know that by 11 a.m. on Tuesday, almost half of our agents, not Kabando, even other candidates for governor, for women, and for Senate, the county and women rep at the county level, had not been allowed to go in the stations? Those are very basic issues. You have the oath of secrecy. You have a letter signed by your party. Secretary General has given a certified letter on a letterhead and a true copy. and then those agents were not allowed to go in, it means that there may have been man